Okay, everybody, welcome back to Dan of All Trades. Today we are working on our LG washing machine. We're going to be replacing our drain pump. You might do this, of course, if it's not draining on its own, making a weird type of humming noise, flashing air codes on your display. So we're going to get started and replace that. Okay, first thing we want to do is we need to get our machine out. We got ours in this little cubby area. We need to pull it out because we're going to end up pulling this front cover and the top cover off to get to our pump. Okay, first thing we want to do, we got this pulled out, unplugged. You want to get these screws off right here. That way you can get this top off. So let's start pulling these out first. Screws out the back. Now you're going to push the top towards the back. Front panel off. You're going to start with these two screws right here. And then there's some in the back here we'll get. Okay, one screw right here in the back. You want to get that one out. And then there's clips right here. Right here. Just going to pop them up. That out there. Just loosen these wires up here so you can put this up out of your way. Going to the bottom down here, we're going to get this screw. This screw, and looks like there's already one missing right there, so. Okay, now you got two screws in here. Once you get that cover off, you got these two screws to take out. Okay, now we need to take off this rubber boot, and there's a spring that goes around the whole thing. Find the end of it, and it should look something like this here. Okay, you're gonna get a flathead screwdriver. Just pry it out, walk it around. Like that. Okay, so now you got this boot loose. You gotta push it back. This plug right here, this is a switch, and there's a plug back here that you have to unplug the wires. You just push the clip and pull the wires down. So we just unplugged that. As you can see it. Hit this tab here, unlocks it, and then pull it down towards the bottom of the washer. We're coming back up to the top. You're gonna have 5 screws here across the top. You take those all out, then this panel is gonna tilt forward and lift up, and it should come out. And there's little tabs on the bottom here. You gotta lift the cover over. Okay, so here's our pump. This is the part that you're actually replacing right here. I didn't mention at the beginning. Here's our new part. It matches up with that one there. Be careful when you get this new part. Wherever you get it from, make sure you get an LG part. Genuine LG part. Just grab a pair of pliers, channel locks or something. Get these hose clamps. One hose. And you don't need to worry about mixing them up because they're all different sizes, so they're all going to go back. They can only go back to one spot, so don't worry about any of that. Okay, so we got the hoses all off. We got our 2 screws off in the front before. We took those off. I thought those were for the front cover, but they were for this, so we already got those out. And back here you can feel it's still stuck to the ground. There's a little plastic clip that you got to push down, and then you slide the pump back towards the washer like that, and pull it out of there. So here's the clip that I was talking about. You got to push this down. You'll feel it when you're back there. You're gonna push that down, and then you're gonna slide the whole pump back to the back of the washer, and it'll come loose. Now you want to pull these wires off your pump, and remember where they go. I don't know if it matters, but just remember you got a blue and a black. Okay, so we got the wires off of this one. I'm going to unplug this one here. Now again, I don't know if it matters where these wires go. I think there's just a coil in here, so it doesn't, but just take note of where they're at so you can plug them back the same way. This plastic housing cover, that was on the old one. It just, you got to pop it off of it, slide it back on your new one. When you go to put this on, the same thing with marking where your wires went. You need to mark where this housing sits in here so you get it on the right way. It has all these different screw holes, so for different models and things, this thing can mount in all kinds of different directions. So if you didn't mark it, it's not a big deal because you only got 3 screw holes where it got mounted. So you just look for which ones had the screws in it. So I can see here, here, and here. So just line those up. See, there we go. There's one, and then this one is gonna go right here. Now start all your screws back in there. Okay, so I got the new pump mounted in there. Now I'm going to hook up the wires. I'm hooking mine up now because this is how I remembered which way they went, because this is how I took it off when it was out of it and it was standing up like this. I remembered my black one was over here. Okay, now you got it setting in there. Now remember that clip back there. You got to make sure that you get the pump sitting down, and then it slides back in there. And you'll hear a little click, and of course it's not gonna slide out, and then you know that you got that clip back in there. Okay, let's hook up our wires first before we go hooking the hoses back up. And again, remember where your wire locations go. I don't remember if it matters. I don't know. Just mark it. Be safe. My blue one was on top. And now these hoses all go back. Make sure when you hook them up, they're not kinked or anything. And they all slide right on where they're supposed to be. And they're all different sizes, so you can't mix them up. Now we're going to go back together the reverse order we took everything apart, except I'm going to put this screws back in here because we didn't need to take those out when we did, so that'll just help hold this secure. Now the cover goes on. Okay. We got the top all screwed back on, so since we're up here, let's go ahead and stick this piece back in. And you see these holes right here is where all these tabs are going to sit in. And then this is just going to snap in on the top, all along this edge. And then don't forget your one screw in this corner right here. These two screws in here. Okay, so you got two screws that go right up here before you put that cover on, and then the one down here is going to go on your cover. So get these two in first. This one down here. Okay, now before you put that spring around the edge, don't forget to find this harness here and plug that back into your switch over here. I want to get this seal around this metal edge, and you see how the seal is formed right here on the edge? That's going to go around the metal up there, and see how it sits flat against the machine. That's what you want it to do. You don't want it, see that right there, still needs to go around. So work the seal all the way around. Okay, now you see how the seal was nice and flat, tight against the machine. Now we can go ahead and put our spring on there. Get your spring and make sure where it comes together is in the same spot where you took it off. Mine was down here at the bottom. So start here up at the top, get that metal part of the spring, sit it down into your seal, and just pick a side and work it around. And then once you get about halfway around, work the other side around. Okay, you get the spring all started, and down here you really gotta push the spring out and stretch it out a lot to get it. Okay, now we slide the top on there. And there's holes in these plastic pieces and the top, so they can only go on one way. Okay, so we got it all back together running. We're on our spin cycle. And there we go. Water's pumping just like it should. So don't forget to like and subscribe to my video, guys, and stay tuned, and we'll see what we're working on next time.